Gregory Ellwood, the playlist.
Hi,
Hi, June. How you doing?
I'm good.
Um, First of all, congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
I have to ask you, this project comes your way, first time director, you're the star, there are stunts. What made you say yes?
It was a great script. I read that script and I thought, well, this you've got to do. There was no question that I should do it. So that was it.
Did you talk to Josh before, like you formally agreed? Did he give you
No,
background on it? Or
I
you
didn't.
really?
No, no. Beanie Fieldstein, who I had done Humans with, is a family friend of Josh and his sisters. And she was there at their house and they were talking about Josh's new script. So she said, well, who do you want to do this? And he said, June Squibb, but I don't know how to get a script to her. She said, I'll get a script to her. So she texted me and said, I'm sending you a script. I texted back, okay. And that was it. I got the script. I read it. I had never talked to Josh. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know anything about it. And then we got on the phone then afterwards, but I we were laughing because he said, I thought we would have to talk you into this, and instead you said, yeah, I'm in, you can count me in.
I feel like I keep hearing these stories that the best projects come to actors, no disrespect, when they go around their managers or agents.
I think that happens, yes, I must say, yes.
So you're making the movie. It's one thing to read the script, and it's
Mm-hmm.
another to be like, oh wow, this is a lot. You are the lead. You are carrying this film.
Mm-hmm.
Was it tougher than you thought it was going to be? Did you feel like it was more challenging or no?
No, I didn't. I didn't feel it was any different than any other job.
Hmm.
Like I understood it. I'd worked on it a lot. I work on a script a long, long time so that when I go into film, I really know the script. I know the material really well. And I had done that. I had done everything I always do before doing a film. And it was fun. It was very relaxed, actually. It was one of the most relaxed sets I'd ever been on.
Did you feel you had to give a backstory to Thelma in your own mind to sort of justify
I
some of
did.
her?
I did to a certain degree, but I really understood her. What he had written gave me a very clear idea of who this woman was and what she felt, what was important to her. So I don't think I questioned that much. I think it was just sort of there. I did some back work on it. And he gave me films of her that he had taken through the last few years. She was certainly older. And little documentaries, 5-minute films of her going to the store, of her in the car. The thing that was in the film about her seeing the trees out the window, that was one of them.
One of the interesting things about the film was when we first meet her, she seems to be trying to placate her grandson and her daughter and her son-in-law. And then this incident happens where she gets scammed and she
Mhm.
sort of turns and is like, nope, I'm going to take care of this myself. Where did you think she just, let me rephrase that. Why do you think she decided to do that and not just let it go or go complain to her?
I think she was planning this from the minute it happened. I think that there was no doubt in her mind. I mean, you think things and then it takes a while to get going and,
Yeah.
to get started working. But I don't think it would ever, to me, she was the kind of woman where I'm going to take care of this. That would be her reaction to something like this.
I'm curious. I don't know how many times you've seen it in a theater or with an audience,
Mm-hmm.
but what has that experience been like for you? It is one of the biggest crowd pleasers, the art house hit of the summer. Like, what has that experience been like?
I'll tell you, seeing it at Sundance, which was the first time I saw it with an actual audience, a huge audience too. It blew me away. I had no idea. And afterwards, all the love that was coming from this audience was amazing to me. I had never been to Sundance. I had had films there, but I had never been there myself. And it just blew me away. I'd never had it before this way. So this
What
is a
was
new experience for me too.
what surprised you the most about Sundance?
All those people loving film so much because they're just walking up and down the streets. They're all over the place. And you realize they're all there for film.
Yeah. When you made the film, your character has a fantastic relationship with her grandson, played by Fred. I'm gonna pronounce his last name wrong.
Hechinger.
Hechinger. Um, how much of that is just the chemistry you two have is so fantastic. One of my favorite parts of the film. How much of that is just the two of you as people together? How much of it is acting? How much of it rehearsal? Where do you think that came?
Most of it is people like us just being together. We met here in my apartment just before we started shooting, and we didn't know each other. And we just immediately had some sort of something happen. We just, we really liked each other. And so as we shot, we just got closer and closer. And now he's one of my best friends. And he lives in New York. I live in LA. But if I'm in New York, I see him. And if he's in LA, he's in my apartment. So, I mean, it was strange because this is one of the closest relationships I've had with a friend, and it's Fred, my
That's
grandson.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. What does he like share music with you? Do you guys talk about movies? Like what has
We
bonded?
talk mostly about film, and people we know, because I was in New York shooting another film and he was there. So he met all of my people, and he knew a
Yeah.
lot of them. He knows everyone. Fred has met everybody in the business, I swear. But it's just we never stop talking, And I think it's all film and people we know because we do know a lot of the same people.
Well, he's in a very interesting movie. I'm sure he's told you about Nickel Boys, which I saw at
Yeah,
Telluride, which is I'm very curious what you will. I'm not sure. I'm sure you haven't seen it because it really hasn't
I
screened outside.
haven't seen it. No.
But it's very interesting, and I'm sure he will want to know with bated breath what you think.
Yeah.
Um, but I also want to ask you. Obviously, this was Richard Roundtree's last film that he made
Yeah.
before he passed away. What was it like working with him and sort of forming the relationship between Thelma and Ben on screen?
It was wonderful working with him. He's a really good actor. I don't think people realize what a good actor he was. He is he's a gentleman. He's sexy as can be. He's all these things. He's everything that you could want for a co-star to work with in front of a camera. He's just great. And one thing I like to tell people, it was my birthday. And he wasn't called that day, but he appeared with 2 dozen red roses for me. And he wasn't even called. He didn't have to come in, or so. I mean, things like that. He was just a lovely, lovely guy.
So you get the script, you're making the movie. If you can remember back then, was there one shot, one scene that was more challenging or that than you thought it would be, or you remember being like, oh, this is the toughest day?
I, I think the toughest was just the physicality. Like going up those stairs was tough. And sometimes the scooter was I just wasn't always sure what I was doing with it. And sometimes that would like, oh God, what am I doing with it today? But one scene that I remember in particular is the graveyard scene with Fred. That when I read it, I knew this was going to be something very special to shoot. And luckily, Fred is the kind of co-worker that he's just wonderful. He's so good. And at his age, I keep going on. I mean, he has such control of his craft at his age, which is amazing. And but that scene was something to shoot anyway. I mean, it was something to think about, and you had to
Yeah.
think in terms of shooting it. So it was a joy to shoot with him, and we both loved doing it. So that was a great scene to do.
Well, I wanted to ask you, and I sort of always want to ask this to anyone who's been in the business for more than a couple of years or 10 years or whatever. What about acting do you love? Why do you still want to do it? You're still working. I was going to ask you about your next
You're
project.
working, yeah. I don't know. I've always thought of myself as an actor. It never occurred to me that I was anything other than that. And I don't know. It's just what I do. I don't know how else to explain it. I enjoy it, but it's work, and it's more work now than when I was younger. I mean, I sometimes feel, oh, I've got to work for a few weeks, and I have to gird my loins for that. I mean, I have to prepare myself for it, but I
Well,
still like doing it.
well, I'm curious what part excites you the most? Because I can say as a journalist, I love doing interviews. I love talking to people. I hate doing the writing. Like it's not fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But what about which part is it? Is it getting needy?
You stopped.
So I had just asked you what was the part that was most exciting for you, and you were just about to answer, and it froze.
Well, you know what's most exciting? Finishing it. Knowing that you fit. No, I'm serious. You finished it, and you're either happy or you're not happy, and you have something done. You've done this, and it's kind of exciting to know that. And then the first time you see it, of course, that's exciting to me. And I guess as far as you say you don't like to write, sometimes I don't like to learn, because there's that whole learning process of the lines, and it takes me a while. I'm not a quickie on
Hmm.
lines at all. I have to study. I study that script a lot to learn the lines. So that I sometimes think, oh, I wish I didn't have to learn these lines.
I'm so envious of actors. I have terrible short-term memory. I don't know how you guys do it. But I did want to ask two more quick questions before they kick me off.
Mhm.
The first one is you just uh starred in Scarlett Johansson's feature directorial
Mhm.
debut, which I think you shot this spring. You don't have to give me anything away about the movie, but just tell me, what is Scarlett like as a director?
She's great. I think people are going to be so impressed with this film. I think it's going to be really a great film. I saw a rough cut of it, and I'm thrilled. I am so thrilled of what we've done. And it's funny because she and I think both feel like we've done this. She and I both have done this together.
Oh wow. Well,
Yeah,
maybe you'll be going back to Sundance. Who
it
knows?
might be. They're talking, so who knows?
Who knows? And then my last question for you is ever since the movie actually premiered at Sundance,
Mhm.
there's been awards talk for you for this performance. Do you take that seriously? Do you take that with a grain of salt? Like, how do you sort of take those conversations?
I take it seriously. And it happened with Nebraska.
I
So
know.
I went through the thing of with each award, and it does happen. So because I didn't know then if it would happen or not, and it did. So my attitude is, I know there's a lot that can happen that could not make it. I could not be on that last list. I think I'm like ninth or 10th now on a lot of the ratings lists, and that's higher than I started with Nebraska. So who knows? So I feel, I'm good with it. If it happens, I will enjoy it because I do remember a lot of good things about it.
Well, I am rooting for you this award season, and
Thank
I can't
you.
wait to see
Thank
your next
you.
movie. Enjoy this run, and wonderful to talk to you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Bye
Have
bye.
a wonderful day. Bye bye.
Okay.